All right, class. Today's knot is the basic slip knot. This is a non-life-saving knot. This is not a safe knot for critical safety situations. This is a convenience knot that puts an adjustable loop, or eye, on the bite or middle section of the line. Okay, so a couple of different ways you can tie this, as with most knots. The slip knot is a true knot in the sense that it is not lashing multiple other fixed objects together. It is not hitching the line to something else, like the clove hitch, for example, hitching the line to a stake. This is purely just a knot. So the first way to tie a basic slip knot, again, not a trustworthy knot for safety or life-saving or rescue purposes, is to tie an overhand knot, which you've already seen. So take the working or loose end of the line, wrap it over the standing end of the line, wrap it under, down, behind, through, to go through the eyelet or loop that you just made, to make a loose or open overhand knot. The next step is to make sure that you have plenty enough working or free end of the line, and then feed that back through the same way that it came out. Tie an overhand knot, put a bite or half or open loop in the working end of the line to feed it back through the way that it came out of this loop, same side of that loop. Hang on to this second adjustable loop that you've just created, and now pull that overhand knot, the first loop that you passed the second loop through, pull that until it's fairly tight. What you're going to do is create an adjustable loop somewhere in the middle or the bite of this line. That is your slip knot. This is purely just a friction knot, so the difficulty in adjusting the knot is entirely based on how tight you pull this overhand knot, how much you clean that knot. Now, since we learned in an earlier video that the overhand knot, so pulling the loop out of a slip knot, undoes the whole thing. Since we learned previously that an overhand knot is a binding or tight or failure-prone knot, this presents a problem for the slip knot because we don't want to tighten it down too much that we can't get this undone. But we have to tighten it down some to provide some friction for the adjustable loop in the slip knot. Otherwise, the adjustable loop in the slip knot simply and easily just falls out. So, again, this is simply a convenience knot. You would not use this knot for critical life-saving tasks, and you would also not use this for basic comfort, safety, and shelter tasks like affixing a tent stake onto a guy line of your tent. Because the moment the wind picks up or the snow starts loading the tent, it's going to put tension on that line, and the slip knot will live up to its name and slip and eventually fail by pulling out. But it is quick and easy, and if the knot has served its purpose and you're ready to finish up, you continue pulling pulling the adjustable loop through the original overhand knot until it just pops out, and that also unties the overhand knot, and you're left with your open line. Okay? So, this is the first way to tie an overhand-based slip knot. Tie an overhand knot by bringing the working end over the standing end of the line to make a closed loop, then finish the overhand part of the knot, pulling plenty of length of working end through the overhand knot as you tighten it down. Then put a bite or half or open loop in the working end of the line and feed that back through the overhand knot's loop the way that it came out of the overhand knot's loop. hang on to the adjustable loop that you've just created and pull the overhand knot tight by capsizing it, causing those fibers to roll and tighten down on each other, or pulling on the standing end of the line, or whatever works. This is a basic adjustable slip knot. When the knot has served its purpose, one way that you can untie it is by pulling the adjustable loop through the overhand knot, if the overhand knot is not too tight to do that. Clean the line by unrolling the kinks in the line, the torsional or spiral twists in the line. Let those fibers relax so they're not under undue excess tension and wear. And that's the overhand slip knot. A second way to tie the overhand knot is to roll the line to make a closed loop. Okay, so I'll roll this and put the working end part over the standing end part over the working end part. Let's do that again. So I'm twisting the line with my left hand a quarter turn so that we have the standing end over the working end. Then with my right hand, reaching through that eye that we just created, grasping what will become the adjustable part of the knot, and then pulling the thing tight, clean, by pulling on the working end of the line. This is a slightly faster way to tie an overhand-based slip knot. To undo the knot, to finish it, we either pull the working end out until the line is clear and empty, or we pull that adjustable loop through all the way and the whole knot just falls apart. Either way works. So again, here's a second way to tie an overhand slip knot. Take the standing end in your left hand, give it a quarter torsion twist as you lay it over the free or working end of the line. With your right hand, reach through and grasp the standing end of the line, pull it through the first loop that you made, hold on to both ends of the line, and just pull the adjustable knot loop through the original overhand knot. And then you've got your adjustable slip knot. The side of the line that you start this with determines which part of the line you pull on or push to adjust the size of the slip knot. So let's try this from the other direction. Again, this is the second method of tying an overhand slip knot. With your right hand, torsion twist the working end of the line, the loose end of the line, so that it lays over the standing end of the line. Then with your left hand, reach through the loop or eye that you just created and pull the line through without letting the tip of the line go through this overhand knot that you create by pulling the adjustable loop through. And now, since we started on the working end of the line with our right hand in this case, we pull on the working end or the right-handed end of this particular knot setup to adjust the size of the loop, and we tighten or loosen the small overhand knot to adjust the friction on that adjustment. There is no way to tie this in a way that you can safely make this work for life-saving emergencies. Do not use this knot for those situations, but for something quick and easy, quick and dirty, this will work fine. Finish the knot when it's done by pulling the loop through, and the whole thing comes apart. One more time from the working end. In this case, I have the working end at my right hand, so I will torsion twist the line to create a small eye or closed loop in the bight, the middle section of the line. Then with my left hand, I'll go through and down through the top of that loop that we just created, grasping the middle section of the free or working end and just pulling that through, but not so far that the actual end of the line goes through. If we do that, it's just an overhand knot. So this is another way of saying this is tying an overhand knot on a bight or a half loop. Once we pull that through with our left hand, we tighten it down by holding both ends of the line and pulling on the loop to create just a little bit of friction in the square knot. Capsize it a little bit to tighten the fibers even more if you want. And now you've got an adjustable slip knot. You can remove the slip knot by pulling the snake's head down through the knot by its tail. That makes it a simple, loose overhand knot. Or you can pull on the snake's head to remove the loop through the overhand knot, and the whole knot comes apart. In both cases, since we're applying torsion to the line, you need to untwist the line afterwards. Make sure there are no kinks or latent tension in the line during storage.